You learn to vanish slowly. Not all at once. Not dramatically. Just one small compromise at a time. Nola mastered the art of disappearing by age 12. She learned it from watching the women in her family, how they folded themselves smaller to make room for everyone else. How they translated "I need" into "it's fine." How their dreams became background noise beneath everyone else's demands. The world called this strength. Nola called it survival. And she was exceptional at it. By 28, she had perfected the performance. The friend who always picked up the phone. The daughter who never said no. The woman who could handle anything. People loved her for it. "You're so strong," they'd say, the words landing like weights on her shoulders. What they meant was, "You won't break, so we don't have to be careful." And she didn't break. She just hollowed out. Joy stopped arriving uninvited. Rest felt like theft. Silence became terrifying because in the quiet, she could hear what she'd been running from. One thought, repeating like a heartbeat. Is this all there is? The breaking point wasn't a breakdown. It was a Tuesday. An unremarkable evening. No crisis. No tragedy. Just Nola, alone in her room, finally still. And in that stillness, emptiness. Not the kind you can explain away. The kind that whispers the truth you've been avoiding. You've been so busy being needed that you forgot to exist. The tears came fast. Years of them, all at once. For the girl who used to dream bigger than manageable. For the woman who learned that wanting things was dangerous. For every time she said yes when her whole body screamed no. Through the crying, one question emerged. Who am I if I stop being everything to everyone? She didn't have an answer. But the next morning, something shifted. Small. Almost invisible. She paused before saying yes. Felt the weight of obligation in her chest. Noticed how her breath shortened, how her shoulders tensed. For the first time, she didn't override those signals. She listened. The guilt arrived immediately. You're being selfish. You're changing and not in a good way. This isn't who you are. But beneath the guilt, something else surfaced. Relief. Space to breathe. Permission to be human. Not everyone liked the new boundary lines. Some people pulled away, offended that she'd stopped performing. A few relationships, ones she'd thought were bedrock, crumbled without her constant giving. That hurt. But it also clarified something. She hadn't been losing her kindness. She'd been finding her honesty. And honesty changes everything. Healing didn't arrive like a revelation. It came in fragments. A morning where rest didn't feel stolen. A no that didn't require an apology. A memory of who she was before the world taught her to shrink. She stopped measuring her worth by her exhaustion. She stopped translating "I matter" into "I'm being difficult." She started speaking to herself the way she'd speak to someone she loved. This is hard. You're allowed to feel that. You don't have to earn rest. You're already enough. Her strength changed shape. It softened. Became something sustainable instead of something to survive. She chose peace over performance. Presence over perfection. Herself over applause. And slowly, her life reflected it. Other women noticed, not because she preached about her journey, but because peace is visible. They saw the calm in her voice. The steadiness in her silence. The way she'd stopped apologizing for taking up space. When they asked what changed, she kept it simple. I stopped abandoning myself. One afternoon, she caught her reflection in passing. Not the version shaped by obligation. Not the woman everyone needed her to be. Just herself. Present. Whole. Unperformed. She smiled not because everything was perfect, but because she was finally, actually living. If you're reading this because you're tired. Tired of being strong. Tired of being unseen. Tired of holding everything together while you fall apart. Here's what Nola learned. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to choose yourself without apology. Your worth isn't measured by your exhaustion. The moment you stop disappearing for others is the moment you start appearing for yourself. And that is when your life truly begins.